I baked you a pie.
Oh boy, what flavor?
Pie flavor.
When you're pivoting around the central line that runs through your head down. The head doesn't shift. It can, and in fact you should practice it, but you want to learn the default, and as you practice these variations, you're always spending most of your time on the default. But like always, I'm always encouraging you to explore the variations. It's part of learning. It's not something that you should go 100% of the time, I must always make sure I'm in the center. No, that leads to a very fragile skill that doesn't work if it's 1% off, right? So in the logical variations, you can actually be basically pivoting from front leg to front leg, or you could be pivoting from back leg to back leg, or you could be transitioning, which say from back leg to front leg, right? Or you can be just keeping it in the center, right? So the default is you keep it in the center.
Pivot! Pivot!
Okay, make sure your feet are more lined up. They're kind of at a whack like this. They need to be, and if you go back to here, they should be still in line. They shouldn't be like that, say, right? So as you're pivoting, so you kind of want to do, so kind of like check every time you do there's kind of like, think of this as like 0, right? And that's 45, and that's 90 degrees. So as you're going through these different, 90, 45, and 45 over here, and 90, you want to actually just check your feet and your hips are pointing where they should be. So in this case, the hips should be facing directly forward here. In this case, the feet should be on parallel tracks facing that way. When you get back to here, it should be in Silm Tau, like that, right? And so notice I had to make a small adjustment there because I was just slightly out. So that's what you should be looking for. Looking for these errors, because if you keep doing it, I'm gonna say for 5 minutes with slight errors, maybe your feet will end up more and more wrong. If your leg is bent like that, there's a very good chance you're actually pushing, you're not actually using this leg to support any of your weight. All your weight is getting supported on there, most anyway. And what you want to do then is just bend your knee and shift your body forward so that it's more equal. Just to stress, it's not bad to have your weight forward or back. It depends on context. Sometimes you want it back. Sometimes you want it back so you can shift it forward. Sometimes you want it forward so you can shift it back. But in Wing Chun, there's kind of like it's like a Buddhist principle, which is the middle way, right? That's very common in things where you want to have the middle path because it gives you the most room to move to the extremes. Yeah. And going to the extremes is sometimes valid, but it's risky. So you want to be doing it sensibly and doing it purposely, as opposed to just doing it as a default.
By testing your extremes, does that help you find where the middle is?
Excellent question. Yes, it does. So especially say you don't even know, every time you're doing it, you think you're doing it in the middle every time, but you're not. And the funny thing about it is you're looking at yourself, you won't even necessarily see it. You often need someone else to kind of point out to you and go, hey, you're not in the center. So a good thing to do then is do the exact opposite error that you're doing, as well as trying to find the center. So because it's to use an analogy, it's like, say, shooting a gun with a target, and you think you're on the target, and you click, and it's always going 10 centimeters to the left, 10 centimeters left every single time. Well, what you need to correct then is making sure that when you point it at the target, it actually goes to where it's going. So say you're pivoting every time, and it's always to this leg. You're kind of like this every time, and you're kind of shifting. The thing then to do would be, well, let's shift the weight to the opposite leg. Let's get good at doing the opposite pattern, as well as trying to find the center. A common problem with the stance would be you've got a slight bias to standing on one leg. So it's the same sort of thing. Spend some time standing on the opposite leg, as well as trying to stand equal. But actually spending some time doing the opposite is a great way of correcting that. And one of the best specific exercises you can do to correct that is on the leg that you don't favor, spend a lot of time practicing standing on that leg. Right? Train it to be weight bearing.
What did you mean when you said pivot?
I baked you a pie.
Oh boy, what flavor?